It's a new year, and since I recently just started collecting, I figure I'd do another video on an updated complete manga collection, since I picked up particularly a lot of volumes this year. Alright, let's begin. So, first I have Plus Anima, right here, volume 1. The Ancient Mage's Bride, volumes 1 through 7, which is currently up to date. Love this series. It has great world building and the art is gorgeous. I have Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, Omnibus, which has volumes 1 and 2. Black Butler, volumes 1 and 23. Bleach, volumes 1 and 2, which is kind of a nostalgia thing. I actually ended up dropping it kind of like later in the way. Blue Exorcist, volume 1. Watched the anime, quite enjoyed it, and haven't really read too much of the manga still yet. Blood Plus, volumes 1 through 5. Started this. It's pretty good. Some of the character designs are different though, and I don't think it's going to have as much character development as the anime, but I do want to finish reading that this year. And that's complete. Boogie Pop's light novels, volumes 1 and 2. Still haven't read much of this, but I kind of like that psychological aspect of that, so I still need to read those. Bride of the Water God, volumes 1 and 2. Great art, kind of confusing plot with the characters later on, so probably won't be picking up more of those. Butterflies Come with Flowers, volume 1. The Case Study of Vanitas, volumes 1 and 2, which is actually a new series of the same author who did Pandora Hearts, which you can definitely tell for sure. Kind of a nice French style, or French setting, so kind of an interesting setting, but also hasn't really gripped me as much. I only read the first volume in here so far. Dengeki Daisy, I have volumes 1 through 5 here, and then my shelf's kind of crazy, but I have volume 6 sitting somewhere, but 6 through 16, so that's complete, that I just picked up recently. Great series if you like that romance, and as for a shoujo series, it definitely has more of an interesting plot, for sure, and definitely am doing a reread of that. Fallen Vampire, volume 1, didn't really grip me that much, but not horrible. Frau Faust, which is by the same author as the Ancient Mage's Bride that I had earlier. Still loving this series so far. Definitely picking up the 3rd volume as it comes out soon as well. Not as much world building as the other ones, but I think it has a German setting, but definitely love it so far. The main characters are pretty interesting, and it's not just a happy little adventure. It has some interesting other development there. Fullmetal Alchemist volume 1. I just kind of had this picked up cheap, so probably won't be picking up too much more of this because I would much rather watch the anime. Though I heard the manga was pretty good as well. The Girl from the Other Side. Definitely pick these up if you're interested in that sort of darker slice of life. Mystery series. Has a great art style, lots of blacks and whites contrasting, sort of like, as you can kind of tell by the tops right here, it's kind of the art style here. Great series so far, lots of mystery, not much answered yet still, but I've been enjoying reading it as they have been releasing. Hellgirl, volumes 1 through 3, which I did a review on. Oh, those are out of order. Wasn't really a huge fan of the manga release on this one. I believe it might be out of print as well. Yeah, because it's Del Rey, but wasn't a huge fan of the series. Definitely a super shoujo style, which didn't really fit the sort of atmosphere of that, so you should read the anime, or watch the anime if you're gonna enjoy the series more. And then I have Hellsing volume 1, which is definitely an enjoyable series. If you like that just pure action, like extremely OP main characters, and it's just a fun series. It just has fun with itself. And I probably won't be picking up too much more of these, maybe the last volume or so, but since it's out of print and pretty expensive, but the anime is definitely worth watching as well. Now I have a bunch of single volumes that I got pretty cheap and just randomly, so that's why I have a bunch of these, just volume 1s here. Honey and Clover volume 1. I remember starting the anime, but didn't finish it before. I don't know. I need to pick it back up again. Kimi no Todoke volume 1. Still haven't started this series. Mostly, I mean, it is apparently a really good romance one, but just the fact that it moves so slow. I think it has like 27 or 28 volumes, and like not that much has happened. It has a bunch of drama. Probably won't get around to at least picking up more of these, but I have volume 1. Then I have Log Horizon 1 of the light novel, which I haven't started yet. Lovecom volume 1. My Hero Academia volume 1, which is great so far. I might pick up some more of these. I think there's like around 10 volumes or so out right now. But the anime is great. Highly recommend it. I think season 3 is confirmed, so you can definitely at least binge the first 2 series or seasons if you haven't already. Great shonen series. Kind of refreshing. A Midnight Opera. I'll be honest, I kind of just picked up this one because of the title, and I kind of like that gothic kind of art style. I haven't read too much of this still yet. I think there's only a few volumes out anyway, but just kind of picked it up for the art style. And then I have Nana volume 1, which was pretty good. Haven't gotten too far into it. Still need to read it, or more of it. It is on pretty much almost indefinite hiatus. I think it's been in hiatus since like 2009 or something, so don't go into the series if you were like diehard on getting a solid ending anytime soon. But a great series so far nonetheless. Then I have this random Neon Genesis Evangelion Volume 2. Kind of just got this randomly pretty cheap, so I still need to get to watching that series. So not much to say on that. Next, I have Nightmare Inspector Volumes 1 through 9. I already did a review on these, but great if you love those darker short stories. Don't go in here for any sort of like romance or really any character development too much at all, but it gets a little crazy near the end of the volumes. But still an enjoyable read. Definitely has a cool art style with like the nightmares aspect of it. So if you like those darker short stories, would probably recommend picking it up. Just kind of the front cover here. Then I have Noragami volumes 1 through 18, as you could probably guess since I have so many of them. Definitely a huge fan of the series. I love the covers themselves. We got just these gorgeous watercolor backgrounds. And I picked up, this is actually one of the first series I actually picked up. Because I think I got the first volume from a Loot anime, and it kind of jump-started some of my manga collecting, but just a really fun series. You have some action, romance, some slice of life in there, and just kind of relatable stories overall. Really endearing characters, and the mangaka is currently having some health issues, so it is on hiatus right now, so that's why it's stopped at 18 right now. Hopefully we can get some more of the series and kind of somewhat a conclusion, but great series. I also have the Stray stories right here. Pretty good. Nothing crazy, not quite as quality. Still in the same vein as the main series, but if you like the series, it might be worth picking up. I also have Spice and Wolf, Volume 1 of the light novel. I'm like not too far into it, but I really enjoy this series. The main characters are great, have great chemistry and kind of back and forth dialogue, so can't wait to read some more of that. And then I have One Punch Man Volume 1 and 2. I actually again got this from one of those Loot animes, and it was pretty good. Definitely watch the anime, I think, first, and then pick up the manga if you're super into the series. Probably won't pick up more of this. The Other Side of the Mirror Volume 1. I also have Volume 2 that I'll show later, which will be complete. Picked up this kind of with the cover as well, just kind of this shiny metallic cover. Kind of a nice, shorter, dark story about finding your way in life. And then I have Pet Shop of Horrors, Volume 1, 2, and 6. Just kind of picked these up randomly. I watched some of the anime before, and it's really just an interesting series. Again, it's those short stories of, like, dark, sort of, like, dark wishes sort of thing. Great series if you enjoy those shorter stories. Don't really know much about the actual, if there's like an ongoing plot so much. I also know there's a Pet Shop of Horrors Tokyo or something, which is sort of like the sequel to this, but definitely pick this up if you like those shorter stories, shorter dark stories. One of my favorites, or I guess memorable, one of the more memorable of those. And then P to 10, I have volumes 1, 2, 3, and 6. Just kind of been picking these up randomly and piecing it together. Haven't really read much of it, but it looks like a fun kind of comedy series. Not too much about that. Then I have volumes 1, 3, and 4 of Pluto. Couldn't pick up volume 2 from where I usually get some of these volumes, but I heard this was an amazing series, so I need to actually get to reading some more of these. And then I have Siren 1 and 2, which I heard was a pretty good, a lot of people say it's underrated, sort of shorter shonen series. Again, I've been kind of picking this up slowly when I can get it for pretty cheap. Read volume 1 a while ago, and it was pretty interesting. I'd have to probably reread some of those to give any feedback on that. Samurai Champloo, volumes 1 and 2 complete. As you'd probably guess, not really as good as the anime. It definitely has that same sort of feel, but you just get so much more in the anime. Obviously, you have more content as well, so wouldn't necessarily recommend picking this up unless you're like a super fan of the series. Then I have 7 Deadly Sins, Volume 1. Was not a huge fan of this series. Won't be picking up any more of that. Just tried the anime, didn't love it either, so yeah. Soul Eater 1 and 2, definitely kind of a fun sort of shonen series. Entertaining characters. Did watch the anime, people didn't super love the ending, but maybe I'll get around to reading the rest of the manga. Steins Gate Volume 1. Haven't really read much of this. I remember picking up the anime, but haven't finished that either, so. But people tend to like this one, and then I have Sweetness and Lightning Volume 1, which is just a cute cooking slice of life, which is pretty nice. Tokyo Mew Mew, Volumes 1 through 7. These are kind of in a little bit of rough condition. I just kind of picked them up. These are the singles, so this is complete. There is a Tokyo Mew Mew a la mode, but we'll see if I'll pick that up. But again, just like a nostalgia pickup. Not an amazing series by any stance, but if you like that sort of cute shonen, or shoujo, like super, just basically magical girl about some of the environmental things as well, you might enjoy this series, but nothing crazy. I have Vampire Doll up here, which again I picked up for pretty cheap, just because of the art style on here. Not a really great series. There's not too much going on with the plot. The characters are kind of entertaining, but not amazing, so wouldn't necessarily recommend that. I have volumes 2 copies of volume 1, and then I have one, but it's 1 through 10 here, and I have the rest in a box set right here that I'll go through. But this is Vampire Knight, one of the earlier series that I actually started reading. Definitely an entertaining series. It switches midway through around here, like changes settings and everything like that. So I'm doing a reread right now and see if I had enjoyed more of the second half, but definitely pick it up if you like that sort of, well, if you like the vampire genre, but if you just like that sort of like supernatural mystery romance series, definitely top tier art. So story could probably use a bit of work, but definitely enjoying that and enjoying the reread as well. And then next I have The Wallflower, Volume 1. I kind of enjoyed this series. Not amazing, at least this first volume, so probably won't pick up too much of that, but I heard it has an anime as well. Then I have XXX Holic, Volumes 1 through 5. Solid series. Definitely like those shorter story supernatural series. This one, again, has more of like destiny and everything is happens kind of for a reason, and people have to do their own, have to believe in themselves, kind of stuff like that, and you have to kind of solve your own problems still. Haven't finished reading all these yet. Definitely enjoy it. Definitely a hindrance though to read it because it's like part of the universe of I believe Tsubasa, and there might have been one other one, but basically you have to kind of read them in contandem with each other because the plots kind of overlap in certain scenes and stuff will make sense later on. So if you're looking for just a standalone series, it might not necessarily be the best for you because you have to read some of the other stuff for other scenes to make sense. But from what I've read here, definitely enjoy it. Tsubasa is pretty good as well, but I don't know. Yokai Rental Shop Volume 1, which I did a review on, pretty good. If you enjoyed the Nightmare Inspector, definitely has a different art style. You can tell it's the same author. Your Lie in April Volume 1, still haven't read this yet. I'm probably just going to binge watch the anime and then maybe read this. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Volume 1. I haven't really read much of this, but I definitely watched a lot of the anime as a kid, but heard it was okay. And then I also have just sort of these random Shonen Jump and Yen Press magazines. And then here, which you saw earlier, I have volumes 1 through 4 of The Water Dragon's Bride, which is by the same author as the person who did Dawn of the Arcana, which I wasn't a huge fan of. Maybe just because I haven't read it in a while, maybe I'll enjoy it more if I do a reread. But definitely a fan of this series so far. Definitely kind of more of a, almost I would say antagonistic other main character. But definitely kind of fun little love triangle. Love these covers, so probably be picking up the rest as they come out. Definitely been enjoying the series. And then here's where it gets kind of crazy. I got volumes everywhere, but here you go. I got Sanctuary volumes 2 and 3 that I got on sale for pretty cheap. Haven't read it, but I heard it was a fantastic series, so I'll definitely hopefully be able to read some more of those. We got just some other random Sherlock Holmes here. And then I have Yowamushi Pedal Volume 1. Not a huge fan of the series, so Persona 3 Volume 1. Tsubasa, I think I have 5 and 25. Just kind of got these randomly for free one day, so figured why as well. But pretty good. Whatever. One Arpeggio of the Blue Steel. Dropped this series. Was not a fan of this one at all. Amazing Agent Luna. Hollow Fields Volume 1 and 2. Not super memorable. Honey Mustard. Could have been great. Mangaka dropped it, so would not recommend picking up. And then I have I'll go through this anime first before I finish that. I have Bakuno Volume 2 of the anime, kind of a solo thing. I got Black Cat and D. Grayman save editions of anime. I have, what do we got here? Eureka 7, the second half that I got for cheap. Hibernate Renmei, the complete series. Love this series, one of my favorites. Again, amazing world building and characters. Hellsing, I have the volume 5 through 8. Still only get 1 through 4. This is just kind of the sleeve here. Got some random Wings volumes up here. And Sherlock. I got some Love Hina that I got for cheap here as well. My Bride is a Mermaid, random volume, or episodes. Magical Knight Rayearth. Some of that. I think this is Yu Yu Hakusho right here. Still haven't read that one. Anyway, I have a Trigun Omnibus, the first omnibus. Or, it might be the complete thing, actually. Because then I know they had a Trigun the Maximum release after that. So, love this anime. Haven't read too much of the manga. I heard it was kind of confusing with the action scene. So, probably watch the anime first if you want to dive into the series. Next, I got Goodnight Poon Poon, which I picked up during one of the Barnes & Noble buy two get one free sales forever ago, because I heard it was an amazing series. Kind of learned my lesson about just picking up random volumes without looking too much into them, just on reputation alone. Now, while it is a pretty crazy series, was not a huge fan of it, at least owning it, so definitely won't be picking up more of these volumes, and maybe I'll end up selling them, but yeah, just there's not really much to describe this series. You kind of just have to read it yourself. Then I have the Fruits Basket Tokyo Pop kind of Ultimate Editions 1 and 2. I think they only came out with 6 of these here, but I picked up these because I love the hardcover books here, and I've got them for a pretty good deal. I also have volumes 1 through 23 of the singles of Fruits Basket that I don't have exactly here, but I got for a good deal as well. And then now here comes sort of the random other volumes that I recently picked up. Mostly haven't organized them on my shelf because I'm running out of room. I don't want to put too much weight on them. But I have Case Closed Volume 1. Kind of just picked this up as like a little kind of nostalgia thing. I read or watched some of the anime forever ago and figured it'd be nice to have at least one volume of this. D. Grayman, volumes 1 through 3. Definitely a darker shonen series for sure compared to some of the other ones, but it's pretty interesting. Probably won't pick up any more of it though, just because I wasn't super in love with it, and I think it's also kind of on a slow roll of hiatus, where it comes out with 1 or 2 chapters every so often. So this is The Other Side of the Mirror, Volume 2, which is the rest of that other series here. Need to finish reading it, this volume at least, but definitely love the first volume for what it was. Promised Neverland, as I already have been praising a lot. Love this series, definitely, and been keeping up with it, so pick this up if you like that dark shonen series, psychological kind of aspect. This is my only Japanese volume that I have, actually. Etana to Akuma, Volume 1, doesn't have an English release, that's kind of why I have this one. One of my favorite sort of romance supernatural series. It just avoids all that, most of that just drama tension of like, oh, like a love triangle sort of stuff, but just really sweet series, and I enjoyed reading it a lot. And then Comics on a Kiss, Volume 25. I haven't picked up any of the other ones, but I did read the whole series, at least. Oh, I almost read all of it, and then I had a gap, and then I finally read the rest of the conclusion here. And I got the limited edition. I'm kind of a sucker for those. So it came with this hardcover book of like some art, and then a epilogue story. Would definitely recommend picking up the limited edition if you're a huge fan of the series, because the sort of like epilogue story in here is great. Definitely add to the rest of the story. But yeah, pretty good series. Might not pick up the rest of it though, just because there's so many volumes and I wasn't so in love with it. And then finally I got 2 box sets here. I got Vampire Knight box set 2, which has volumes 11 through 19, which is the rest of the series. Again, I've been doing a reread, but from the last time I read it, I was not a huge fan of where it was going near the end there, so it kind of went downhill, but maybe in a reread I'll pick up some more that I kind of missed last time, but the art still is great. And then I have Death Note. This is the complete box set. It should have, I think it's 1 through 13, and then a how to read book. Yeah, or 1 through 12 and a how to read book. and watched the anime of this forever ago, and I read a little bit of the manga, but definitely an amazing series. If you like that sort of thriller, kind of mouse chase series, would definitely recommend picking this up. Definitely pick up box sets if you can, because they're a lot cheaper for their deal, and again, it's still like the same quality because it's like those single volumes versus like the omnibus. I know they recently came out with the whole series in one book, which I will not be picking up. Mostly it's just crazy size to hold around, and apparently the spine bends like crazy because it's so heavy. But if you're looking just to try out the series, it might be worth it. But I have the singles here. Definitely been meaning to actually read some of the more of the manga. Watched the anime, enjoyed it though. And finally, we got one last, forgot about this pile here, but these are what I most recently picked up. Horimiya Volume 1. I actually did read this since the last manga haul. Have been loving this series. I actually been reading further on since this volume. They're just really sweet, and just like, I don't think they know how to really interact with each other too much or express their feelings, which is, always kind of fun to watch, but we'll see how it goes on. I heard people were complaining because it kind of delved off to some of the other side characters, which weren't as interesting, but so far I have been loving this series. The art style is kind of nice. It seems pretty average, but it's pretty expressive actually for some of the facial expressions, so good stuff there. And then Girls in Panzer Volume 1, still haven't read that yet. Spice and Wolf Manga Volume 1. I actually did read this earlier before, and still love this series. Again, this sort of, you don't see like hardly any anime or manga approach like that sort of economics kind of world building stuff. And again, just really lovable main cast here. Definitely been meaning to read some more of this. I've only read this volume, and I need to start the rest of them. I think the whole manga series is complete. Although I think they just come out with Wolf and Parchment, which is like the sequel series. Speaking of sequel series, I have Vampire Knight Memories Volume 1, which is the sequel to Vampire Knight, as you would guess with the title. Again, the art style is still great, of course. And if you were a fan of the main series and you want to tie up some loose ends, I would definitely recommend picking up this series as it's been releasing. Good stuff so far. Otomen Volume 1. Still haven't read this, but I heard it was a great series, and I don't hear too many people talk about it, so we'll see. Blank Slate Volumes 1 and 2, which I already kind of talked about a little bit. Was pretty good series. Kind of disappointed. I feel like it could have been more, but sort of definitely a different pickup for Shoujo Beat, which was nice. And then finally, the last volume I have here is I have Beautiful People, I just have Beautiful People. This is just a compilation of shorter stories, so this is the complete thing. I kind of picked this up because, again, the cover is kind of this glowy metallic on here, and I thought it would look kind of good. And it's kind of nice to pick up some of those short story books, one-shot books every so often, just so you don't have to be invested in volumes and volumes of a series and not enjoy it. So that is all my manga that I have so far. Picked up probably, I feel like it's almost like half of this year, maybe. I don't know. It was a lot. You have all this on the bottom here, and a few volumes in here as well. So got Don't Get Me Daisy, these other ones, my 2 box sets. Here's the bottom shelf, it's kind of dark. My second shelf here. Got a little small mite here. But yeah, of these series that I picked up recently, I'm a huge fan of The Ancient Mage's Bride, and Fire Frost I've been reading as I've been picking it up. Dengeki Daisy has been really good so far. Huge fan of Origami, as I already said. Nightmare Inspector was a nice shorter story that I picked up. And then these other ones are pretty good still. I'm happy with my collection so far. There's a few series I'll be keeping an eye out, and as I already said, I'm going to pick up a few volumes in February that are new releases, so hopefully those will be good as well. And thanks for watching.